easiest thing in the world for a politician to do is say yes. Yes, let's screw over the majority English speakers because it's the right thing to do. And because we're the majority, it shows that we're generous. Or yes, let's tax the crap out of the people who work the hardest to give to the people who work the least. Because, well, you're rich or you've got something. It's the right thing to do. The hardest thing for someone to say is no. Without question, it's the hardest thing for someone to say. And that's what we've been saying. That's what everyone in this room has been saying for the longest time. No. And we've been taking it on the chin. It's really hard to fight against the establishment. They've got the money, our money. They've got the power because we elect them into positions of power. And they won't give it up for anything. I have met some extremely decent lawyers of high moral fabric. But most lawyers are scum. Judges are lawyers. And that's who we're dealing with. So we lost our language case against Russell, not because we were wrong, not because they were right, but because the lawyers who are judges said that our rights have been violated, but it's the right thing to do. Now let me tell you how scummy they were. They didn't even go to Section 1, which is the notwithstanding clause. They just said it's the right thing to do, based on nothing. The Court of Appeal said the exact same thing as Superior Court. It's the right thing to do, even though we took away the rights and freedoms of the majority. It's the right thing to do. The Supreme Court of Canada decided not even to hear this case, even though the Russell decision violated all of the Supreme Court's jurisprudence. They didn't want to hear this case. They didn't even say it's the right thing to do. They didn't give us an explanation. They just decided it's not worthy of the highest court of the land. So now, no one really knows. But until it's challenged again somewhere else, if it can be challenged again, forced bilingualism is the law of Canada. So how do we say no? Where do you go when all of your venues have been closed to you? You can't go to the politicians because they don't want to know. In our very first attempt to pass a resolution standing up for Canada's rights and freedoms, our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, in South Stormont, my Member of Parliament, Guy Lauzon, said he can't come to the vote on the resolution because it's not his mandate, because it's too controversial. Imagine a Member of Parliament sworn to protect our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, who says that our rights and freedoms are too controversial. So forget the politicians, and the higher up you go, forget them the most. So we go to the courts, because we were born and raised to believe in justice. In 1982, Trudeau gave us the Charter of Rights and Freedoms by taking away our rights and freedoms. So where do we go? So we went to the Ottawa Superior Court, where a French activist judge came up with the first ruling. Sure, you lost your rights and freedoms, but don't worry about it. It's the right thing to do. So we went to the Court of Appeals, where there was a demand for 3 bilingual judges. No reason. The entire case was heard in English, even though Jean-Serge over there and myself had agreed to hear it in French. We both speak French and English. It was heard only in English. But they demanded 3 bilingual judges because there'll be a proclivity towards bilingualism. Got wiped out 3-0. It takes courage to say no. Tammy Hart is here, Deputy Mayor of South Stormont. She has real courage.
Here, here. Here, here.
The Mayor of South Stormont, Brian McGillis, he showed real courage. All the councillors of South Stormont, even though they had tremendous doubts about signing a resolution supporting our freedoms, our right to speak the language of our choice, to post signs in the language of our choice, they had doubts. But in the final moment, they had courage. And we passed the first resolution guaranteeing that no one will take away our freedoms to post a sign in the language of our choice, whether it is English or French or any other language. That took courage. They said no. We brought the resolution to the town where I live, South Glengarry. They wouldn't even hear it. They finally voted not to vote on it. The reason being, it was too negative. Imagine standing up and supporting our rights and freedoms. It's too negative. I guess none of them had grandfathers or fathers who served overseas fighting for the freedoms of others and fighting for the freedoms that we enjoy right here. They are truly bastards. These people are cowards. These people are my definition of un-Canadian. And they have to be gotten rid of. We're not going to get rid of them by re-voting the same bad actors in over and over and over again, or going to the judges. It's not going to happen. So we took our fight for our resolution to other markets. We took it to Jocelyn, a little town up in the Sioux. They said no too. And they voted unanimously to make sure that our freedoms, their freedoms, the freedom of expression is guaranteed in a little town called Jocelyn. If you want to see that resolution, just raise your hands for a second and Ann will pass it around. Already done. I want you to know from experience who's responsible in our family, Ann or myself. Jocelyn is great news because they're so far removed from the fight. They're not in our neighborhood. Yet they understood how important it is to fight for freedom of expression. Now, if you want to know the real exciting news, between now and the end of the month, 13 more townships are going to sign that resolution. And by the time we're done, and I use the word we are done, we will get hundreds of townships right across Ontario to sign that resolution and shove it in the face of the politicians and the courts and Franco activists who want to take away our rights.
Yeah!
There are only two words that I want to use besides think about it.
Remember, there are ladies present.
Waiting for silence.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. The two words to everyone in this room is thank you.